merits and demerits as well on the Bentham and Hooker system. So today we will be studying biodiversity. So this biodiversity, it is a what you call prominent topic of the present world, which has recognized a lot of importance because of the species which are getting extinct in last few decades, and that's why this is quite important. Uh, Today's world, which is facing the depletion and a conservation measure that is very much required. If we are not following the conservation measure, then we will be facing a lot of difficulty. We are in the phase of mass extinctions. So already on the earth, around five extinction phases that have happened, and we are in the phase of sixth mass extinction. And this sixth mass extinction, which is called as Holocene, or it is also called as Anthropocene. So this is created by the human population. So this is the topic that we will be discussing in the today's lecture. Okay. So whether the PowerPoint is visible to you?
Yes, sir.
So biodiversity, so how it is representing, that we will be studying in today's lecture. So what is biodiversity? So this was for the first time coined by Norman Mayer, and it is the variety and the variability of plant and animal species on our planet. So the total species, plants as well as animals, along with the microorganisms, they contribute to form the biodiversity. So this is nothing but the organisms that are present on the earth since from the origin of the earth, and till this date, all such organisms, they share the term that is biodiversity. So organisms that can live on land, or it may be living in the water, or sometimes some microorganisms that are living in air as well, and some may be living below the soil surface. So that are called as subterranean. So there are so many what you call habitats in which the organisms that are living. So when we are talking about the aquatic, it may be the fresh water, it may be the marine water, or it may be the brackish water, or it may be the estuaries in which the organisms that are occurring. Beside these, the organisms that may be present in the plant or animals bodies, that is endophytic, or it may be the endozoic, or sometimes it may be present in the leaves, or it may be on the leaves as an ectoparasite or endoparasite. So there are so many what you call the habitats in which the living organisms that are occurring. So today's biodiversity, it is the result of 400 million years. So all of you are knowing the Earth's age is around 465 million years. So it is around 4.65 billion years earlier the Earth that was formed. And after 600 million, some living organisms, they started uh, originating on the Earth's surface in the form of archibacteria. These organisms that were chemosynthetic, and these are what do you call started producing the oxygen. Prior to these archibacteria, there was no oxygen on the Earth's surface. It was totally covered by the water. And after the chemosynthetic organisms that started originating, so oxygen that was formed on the Earth's surface. We are knowing around 3 lakh plants, and in India, it is represented by around 18,000 flowering plants. So, flowering plants, the human population that is known, it is around 3 lakh plant species that are occurring on the Earth's surface. So, why is biodiversity important? So, people get the good food, clothing, many medicines that are what do you call we are getting from the plants, and there are so many what do you call industrial products that are coming from the plants, and these are the components, they are having the origin from the living organisms, hence comprises to form the biological diversity. Biodiversity serves recreation and tourism, and that also supports the ecosystem, means habitat it is supporting. If the living organisms that are not there in the ecosystem, then that ecosystem is having no value, zero value, and that's why it is quite important and it is playing vital role in bringing the environment. Biodiversity is also providing the community life. So all the communities that are present on the earth surface that are sharing on the plant surface, the opportunity to practice the thoughtful stewardships. So there are also somebody called the decomposers that are playing the role. Human beings are dependent for their health and enjoying the life and all the life processes on the earth surface. So biodiversity is playing enormous role in each and every aspects of the day-to-day life. There are three types of biodiversities. What are those? One, it is the genetic diversity. Second one is the species diversity. Third one is the ecosystem diversity. So we will be going in detail one by one. So genetic diversity, it is nothing but the diversity that we can see in within the species. So the variations that we see within the species is called as the genetic diversity. So what does it means? So every organism on the earth, it is unique. The genetic setup of each and every organism is also different. And this genetic setup, which is expressed phenotypically, and that results into the variation of appearance of these organisms is called as the genetic diversity. This genetic diversity, it is nothing but the variation that we see in the chromosomal setups. So these chromosomes that are what do you call varying within the species. If we take account of the human population, so humans, they are classified under the what do you call the Homo sapien, which is the species, and these Homo sapiens, there are so many differences that we can see in the Homo sapiens in a single species. Why does this happen so? Because every organism, living organism, such as Homo sapiens or human beings, so these human beings, they are having 23 sets of chromosomes, and under that 22 sets they are autosomes, and one pair it is related with the sexual chromosomes, XX that is present in the females and XY in the males. All such chromosomes, they are bound with the what do you call the genes upon it, and these genes that are forming because of the different what do you call arrangement of the genetic codes on the DNA, and each one it is get expressed the what you call the protein that is synthesized, and this protein that is expressed phenotypically, hence the characteristic features of the human beings that are varying. I will give you one example related with the genetic diversity. There are so many examples with me, but I will be sharing some examples related with the genetic diversity. When we talk about the human beings, the siblings in a family, they do not match with each other. Are you hearing me? Whether I am audible to you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. When we talk about the sibling in a family which are originating from a common parent, they don't have the similarity. Why does such happen? So such things that is happened because there is combination of different genes within the DNA of every chromosome. दोन भावंड किंवा चार भावंड एका फॅमिलीमध्ये असतील तर सगळे सारखेच दिसतात का? थोडेफार सारखे दिसतात, पण पूर्णच्या पूर्ण सारखे दिसतात का? It is quite impossible. So due to the crossing over of the chromosome, exchange of the different genes that happens, and it results into the formation of a unique progeny. This unique progeny, why I am calling, because this is unidentical. It is not at all matching with that of the other, what you call, the species or the individual. So that's why every individual is having its own DNA fingerprints, and this is because the number of what you call genes that are present that are varying. So siblings, they do not match. Only sometimes the twins that are morphologically get matched because they are having similar sets of chromosomes, and hence the siblings that are alike, they are very much similar, and that is the thing that we see in the twins. But it is impossible to see such what you call similarities in the siblings which are taken birth at different what you call the periods. There are thousands of rice varieties. There are thousands of what you call mango varieties, wild mango varieties. They do not match, even though they have classified under the single species. Oryza sativa, it is the species name of the rice, and Mangifera indica, it is the name of the mango. Even though these mangoes, they are having what you call the different combination of the genes, and hence the shape of the mango, the color of the mango after ripening, the size of the mango, the taste and fragrance of the mango, the content of the sugar of mango, the essence of the mango, the fragrance after ripening of the mango, it is quite different. The wild varieties of the mango, when we see in the countryside or in the farmland, it is very much different. It is quite different. There are so many species that were cultivated by our forefathers in their agricultural land that do not matches with the other mangoes in different fields. So that is the speciality of a single species which is having differentiating variation or the diversified characteristic features in the mangoes. Or there are so many species of what you call the Jizupus mauritiana. बोर सुद्धा बघितलेले असतील तुम्ही खेडेगावातल्या शेतामध्ये, प्रत्येक झाडाचं बोर हे वेगळं असतं, है का नाही? Jizupus mauritiana, this is the botanical name of the what you call त्या बोरांचं नाव आहे, का नाही? अनदर एक्झाम्पल, राईस व्हरायटी सांगितली, त्याच्यामध्ये सुद्धा खेडेगावामध्ये जे काही वाईल्ड हॅबिट असतील त्याच्यामध्ये सुद्धा तुम्हाला व्हेरिएशन्स बघायला मिळते. नो डाऊट देर आर सम व्हॉट यू कॉल द इम्प्रूव्ड मँगोज व्हरायटीज, लंगडा, हापूस, पायरी, केशर, है ना, मलगोबा, नीलम, हे जे काय मँगो व्हरायटीज आहेत ते जेनेटिकली डेव्हलप्ड व्हरायटीज आहेत आणि हे सुद्धा मँजिफेरा इंडिका मध्येच येतात आणि याच्यामध्ये सुद्धा तुम्हाला व्हेरिएशन बघायला मिळतं. आता या जेनेटिक डायव्हर्सिटी मध्ये काही कंट्रीज आहेत त्याच्यामध्ये काही लोक सारखे दिसतात. मी एक्झाम्पल सांगितलं होतं, आय टोल्ड यू दिस एक्झाम्पल. मोस्ट ऑफ द मंगोलॉइड्स that belongs to China and Japan, they look similar. It is quite difficult to identify we people from India, but the Chinese themselves, they can identify, they can what do you call, recognize the speciality of the features that are present in the human population. Homo sapiens, this is the what do you call, single species of the human being, but which is having different races. याच्यामध्ये भरपूर रेसेस आहेत, मंगलाइट्स आहेत, आहे का नाही. त्याच्यानंतर ते ड्रेविडियन आहेत, युरोपियन पीपलचे फीचर्स वेगळे आहेत ना, इंडियन वेगळे आहेत, अरब्सचे वेगळे आहेत. There are having what you call variations that we can see in the these organisms or the human population. Even though they are having what do you call the morphological variation, but they have been classified under the single species because they can successfully undergo the mating and the fertile progeny that can be formed. So because the fertile progeny that is produced, hence these are classified under the genetic diversity. Okay, so these, they are belonging to the same species and they are what you call undergoing the interbreeding population can produce the fertile progeny and hence it is classified under the genetic diversity. Okay, so whether genetic diversity is okay, I suppose you have understood this well, genetic diversity. So chromosome number, it is varying, all this is included under the genetic diversity. Is the point clear?
Yes, sir.
So next is the species diversity. So what it is, species diversity? What is the species diversity? This is the diversity that is seen between the species. This is the diversity that is seen between the species. Means human beings that are varying with that of the chimpanzee. Chimpanzee might be varying with that of the monkeys. Monkeys may be varying from the lagoons, or lagoons may be varying from the elephant. Elephant, it is varying from the tiger. Tiger is varying from the what do you call horse or any species. So these are different species. Okay. So the variation that is quite simple and that we can recognize easily, and this is not belonging to the same species or the similar species. So such diversity, it is called as the species diversity. That's why I told you species diversity, it is nothing but the diversity that can be seen between the species. One species is different with that of the other species. So all such species that are present in a unit area, all such species that is present in a unit area, that contributes to form the species diversity. Whenever we are talking about the habitat or the ecosystem, all such species which are occurring in that habitat or the ecosystem belonging to plants as well as animals, all such compilation, all such what you call species together, that comprises to form the species diversity. That comprises to form the species diversity. When we speak the largest diversity on the earth, all such organisms belonging to plants, all belonging to animals and the microorganisms that contribute to form the largest species diversity. And when we talk about the Maharashtra diversity, all the districts or the land area that is included on the land as well as in the water, all the species that are present that contributes to form the Maharashtra diversity. When we talk about the Aurangabad district diversity, the total land that is included and all the plant species and the animal species inhabiting on such land, which is what you call fixed land. It is called as species diversity of Aurangabad. Okay, so species diversity, it is having both plant as well as animal along with the microorganism, and it comprises to form the species diversity. Okay, the point clear? This is species diversity. As I told you, there are around 3 lakh plant species, flowering plant species. We will be going giving importance for the availability of the plants. We are not that taking seriously with the animals, but the plants that are occurring on the land or in the water, that are around 3 lakh flowering plant species that are documented this date. And in India, 18,436 plants that are documented. So flowering plant species number in India किती है? This is 17,000. It was earlier. Now it is 36 plants that are documented. So flowering plant species number in India किती है? This is 17,000. It was earlier. Now it is 18,400. Okay. So this is all about the species diversity. Species diversity, it is demarcated by means of the individual organisms which have been isolated on the basis of interbreeding population. स्पेसीज डायव्हर्सिटी मध्ये काय झालेलं आहे, ऑर्गॅनिझम कसे डिमार्केट केलेत किंवा सेपरेट केलेले आहेत on the basis of their sexual reproduction, where the fertile progeny that is produced. So such species which are successfully carrying out the interbreeding population, that are called as the species diversity. Hope you might have understood this what you call species diversity concept. But there are some exceptionals. There are some exceptionals in the species diversity. I will give you one or two examples related with the species diversity which are exceptionals. When the horse mates with the donkey, a mule that is produced, even though horse belongs to the separate species and the donkey that is belonging to the separate species, but the fertile progeny that may be formed, and that species is called as the mule. So this is the exceptional case. Sometimes when the tiger it mates the lioness, it may produce the liger. So lion's a Li and tiger's a GOR. So the new term that has formed, liger that may be produced, which is an exceptional case in the species diversity. But when we talk in general, the species that are isolated population of the interbreeding organisms, and in species diversity only two or a few examples that can be given. Otherwise it has been isolated, which is because of the speciations. Okay, this is called as the species diversity. Ecosystem diversity, the next one it is. So ecosystem, it is related with the habitat. So roughly when we talk ecosystem diversity, it is of two types. One, it is the terrestrial ecosystem, and second one is the aquatic ecosystem. Further, the terrestrial ecosystem, it is classified of different types, and even aquatic ecosystem diversity, it is also classified in different types. So what it is saying, the species which is occurring in the different type of habitat, which is having a characteristic feature of different kind, that is occurring in the different what you call ecosystem or the habitat, that comprises to form the ecosystem diversity. When we speak ecosystem diversity related with the grassland, all the grasses that are present in the what do you call that land, on the land, different types of vegetations. It may be comprising some shrubs or some herbs, some grasses, some trees which are rarely forming in that grassland. There are several microorganisms. There are so many what you call herbivorous animals, or it may be carnivorous animals, or the omnivorous animals, or the decomposers. All such organisms that contribute in a unit area of the grassland that comprises to form the ecosystem diversity. That forms the ecosystem diversity. Hope you might have understood what the ecosystem diversity is. समजलं का? Whether
Yes,
I'm
sir.
audible to you?
Yes, sir.
Ecosystem diversity म्हणजे काय? It is based upon the habitat. Habitat means it is the dwelling place of the different organism. Dwelling place means this is the home, resident or house or the abodes or the boasts where the living organisms that are occurring on the land or it may be the water. All such space in which the life it is prevailing, such kind of habitat or the environment, it comprises to form the ecosystem diversity. I gave you the example of the grassland ecosystem. The grassland ecosystem diversity in which different types of grasses or the herbaceous plants, or it may be the shrubs, or it may be the spinous plants, or it may be the microorganisms, or rarely happening trees, or it may be the different what you call the herbivores. You might have understood what is herbivorous, carnivorous, omnivorous. So all these animals that contribute to form the diversity in a particular place, in a particular unit area, it comprises to form the ecosystem diversity. Okay? Is the point clear? So there are different what you call ecosystem diversities. For example, it may be the rain tropical forest. It may be rain temperate forest. It may be the tropical deciduous forest. It may be the wetland forest, or it may be the damp area forest, or it may be the what do you call grassland. It may be savannas. It may be alpine. Okay, it may be arid forest, or it may be dry deciduous forest. It may be the ocean diversity, or it may be the sea diversity. It may be the river diversity, lake diversity. It may be the pond diversity. It may be the stream diversity, or it may be the mountainous diversity. So it may be the aquatic diversity or the terrestrial diversity. All such different types of habitat that results in the ecosystem diversity. So this is totally based upon the dwelling place. This is totally based upon the dwelling place. It's called as the ecosystem diversity. So ecosystem diversity, it may be of different types: alpha diversity, it may be beta diversity, or it may be the gamma diversity. So what alpha diversity is? The number of species within a given vegetation unit. So this may be a single unit in which the number of species that are occurring, that are found. So that diversity is called as the alpha diversity. What is the beta diversity? It is the number of species between two or more sites. So there it may be the transaction, there may be the mixing, there may be the meeting point of one or two or more than one, up to two, or limited number of the ecosystems. which are meeting, and it may help in the moving of the species from one place to the another place nearby. So such diversity, it is called as the beta diversity. So ecological niche, that is little more than that of the single unit of ecosystem, and such type of diversity is called as the beta diversity. The third one, it is the gamma diversity. It is related with more than two or many what you call such ecosystems that are meeting, and the biotic factors like animals, they are moving from one place to the other. The seeds that get disseminated from one place to the other by different what you call the animals. There may be some what you call pollination factors that may be occurring. There may be the habitat which is having more than two types, and such type of species occurrence is called as the gamma diversity. So it may be having aquatic, it may be having terrestrial, it may be having mountainous, it may be having grassland or savannas or alpine. So more than two such what you call the ecosystem that is comprising to form the diversity is called as the gamma diversity. इथपर्यंत समजलं का सगळ्यांना? पुढच्या लेक्चर मध्ये बाकीचं सांगणार आहे. आता मला एक मीटिंग आहे, तो अनदर 5 minutes मी काही आता तुम्हाला सोडणार आहे. So you mention your attendance in the chat box. By mentioning the date. कुणाला काही डाऊट आहे का?